Hi, Heidi ho, Heidi ho. So I left my message earlier um, on Instagram. Figured I'd leave one on here. Yeah, make them a little bit longer here on YouTube. So anyway, the message is obviously everything always reverts back to our seven gates: our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth. Seven gates. We're placing guards over our seven gates. It's because we are the authority, and the only authority over us is God, Allah, the All. Our Ima Abba, my Ima Abba. If you don't recognize the mother, then that's okay. You sent your mother away. So today is the Gregorian calendar, 4th of July, Independence Day. Independent from what? So here's the way it works. Do a date conversion to the Hebrew calendar, our Ima Abba's calendar of creation. The year begins in Nisan, obviously. So the Gregorian calendar year 1776, July 4th, 1776, just so happens to be the exact same day of the breaching of the walls of the first and second temple, the destruction of the first and second temple, 17th day of Tamuz. So you do a date conversion, you'll find those things out. Anyway, there's energy in everything we do. So the year of Rav, they like to do a bait and switch. Make you think that they are doing something new. This is our new and improved. Yeah, Kelgon, take me away. This is our new and improved. So you're independent. We're independent from Britain. Really? Well, see, you were never subservient to Britain. So the thing is, you were subservient to the Roman Catholic Church, to Rome, and it does lead back to Julius Caesar. So they're all necromancers and idolaters. They're wicked men. So Julius Caesar created that calendar and got everybody to start following his calendar. But Julius Caesar was at least intelligent enough to have the year beginning in March, April, because he knew spring was what the Hebrews followed. The tribes of Israel followed the Hebrew calendar, the creation's calendar. So the year begins in spring. Not in the middle of the damn winter, it begins in spring. The middle of the winter is because when Pope Gregory modified the calendar, St. Sylvester's birthday is the 31st day of December. So when you do all those celebrations and you watch the ball drop, that's St. Sylvester's birthday you're celebrating. So the year doesn't end or begin in the middle of the season. So anyway, spring is the beginning of the year. So who are exactly are you claiming an independence from is what it comes down to. You're still following Rome's laws, the law of the sea. So uniform commercial codes and United States codes, because the United States is a business owned by the banksters. And the Federal Reserve is just one of their central banks, and then they have a central bank where all the money, so it's called the International Monetary System or the International Monetary Funds. And that bank, that particular bank, isn't subservient to anybody. You're not even allowed to question them, ask where their money comes from, where it goes to, or anything else. Anyway, who are you independent from? That's the big question. Who are you claiming that you're independent from? You can't claim that anything in your reality has changed, but you're still using a calendar that was created by Julius Caesar. So if you're following the laws of the king, it goes back to like 1 Samuel. This will be the nature of your king. You'll plow his fields, your sons will lead his chariots, and your daughters and wives will bake his bread. This will be the nature of your king. You'll plow his fields. Those are all keys. And when you really stop and look at it, and how Rome has beguiled you. So you use that Social Security trust account, so you're putting stuff into an account that you know is a trust account. Simplest things, like when you compensate your brother for his labor, but you want to pay him through that trust account, then you're refusing to compensate your brother for his day's work, for his labor. So every man is due his day's work. Or you're refusing to compensate him if you're using debt notes that belong to the Federal Reserve. And it does all lead back to the Federal Reserve because the United States is a corporation. So if you look it up, the United States is a Title 28 corporation. The Bar Association, Baal Accredited Registry, that wants you to register everything, was created from the mother company. And it does all go back to Rome, the Vatican. So, anyway, when you really start to open your eyes and you see this stuff, I mean, we have literally, many of us, and I have worked really hard in the last 12 years or so, um, being celibate and single. I'm not in a relationship, so I have nothing better to do than to give all my time to studying the laws and the many different laws. So, Hermetic principles, the immutable laws, the law of correspondence, law of vibration, law of gender. And I live those laws. So I look at everything according to immutable laws, laws that can't be changed, that can't be argued. So independence. Well, if you're still dependent on Rome and the Vatican, then you're not independent. It's just a show. And we are all actors on a stage, is what it comes down to. So obviously these vessels are not us. So you read Job 10:11. You covered me with this flesh and the skin and knit me together with the bone in the center. Or you go back to Bereshit, Genesis, when we first sinned or our first iniquity, we were covered with order. Order. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Order. Wonder what that order is that we were covered with. 666. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. I've been saying this for years. It's these bodies. And it's not that the 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons are actually bad, because they can be either Tav or Ra, good or wicked. It's a matter of what we do with those electrons, protons, and neutrons. How do we attach ourselves to it? So quantum entanglement, the spooky action at a distance. What spooky action are we causing? What is the ebb and flow that we are placing in? What kind of dharma and karma? What are we putting out into the universe? What is our Ima Abba sending back to us? But it's amazing when you really work hard to remove yourself from the indoctrination of this whole system. So a lot of rabbis will say, "Oh, it's a Jewish belief that you got to be married, and there's a certain way that we do it, and it's got to be on paper." And, no, it's supposed to be in your Torah, or not. Plain and simple. But it is a covenant between a man and a woman, but it's not between anybody else other than the man and the woman and Hashem. Period. In the discussion. So it is taught that it's what's called a get. How can you get a wife? There's 3 ways to get a wife. One way is the father dedicates his daughter to a specific individual man. The other way is a man comes and finds a woman, and finds that she's attractive or whatever, he's attracted to her mentally, and he gives shekels. That's a get. The other way to get the wife is intimacy, which is the most sacred portion of getting a wife. Because without the intimacy, even under Roman law, the marriage never happens. So if the man never enters into the woman never gives herself up to the man, then you were never married. You can annul the marriage like it never happened, which is evidence the paper is nothing more than bungus. Stu yoke, as some call it. So, this indoctrination, being independent, well, you really need to ask yourself who you are independent from. Maybe you should start reading the Bible, Old Testament. Maybe you should start following some rabbis, but even then, you got to realize, as long as we're in these bodies, we're still trapped. with the Yetzirah, the evil inclination, the reptilian mind. So that all comes down to your heart and your mind. You may see something that that rabbi doesn't see. You may feel something that rabbi doesn't feel, and that's you. You've got to follow your own your own. You can take information from someone else, knowledge and wisdom, and bring it into yourself. But ultimately, you're the only one who's going to be standing before a mob and being questioned. So why exactly did you do this? And you don't get to say, well, Moshe Rabbeinu said, or a rabbi said, or the RE said, or you don't get to claim all those things. God bless. Much love.